everyone, my name is Sydney, and today I will be presenting with my classmates Maggie on plant-based protein sources. We are graduate students from the University of Cincinnati, and today we will be teaching you how to incorporate more plant-based proteins into your diet.
There are several myth busters, and we are going to go through some of them. And the first one is, do you think beans cause stomach ache? True or false? The answer is actually false. The truth is, beans actually improves your gut function and helps regulate your bowel.
The second myth we want to bust is whether beans are the magical fruit, and they really are that the more you eat, the more you chew. So this is actually false as well. The reason being is that the more beans you eat, the less likely you are to have this gas as a side effect. And this is because your body starts to adjust to a higher fiber diet.
Another common myth is whether or not beans are considered a protein source. This is actually true. So one serving of beans has up to 10 grams of protein. That's actually more than an egg or a slice of deli meat. And believe it or not, there are actually many foods that are high in protein that come from plants.
So we want you to think through the following food: peanut butter, beans, rice, nuts, corn, and lentil. So look at the several food and choose the one that is high in protein. We'll give you a few seconds to do that. Okay, so looking at the list that we mentioned, peanut butter, beans, nuts, and lentil actually high in protein. Were you correct?
Okay, so now that we know a little bit more about plant-based proteins, let's talk about how we might make them into a meal. So before we get going onto how to build this meal, we first need to know what belongs in a meal. So the 5 main food groups are fruits. These are items such as strawberries, blueberries, bananas, apples, and you can see it's a corner of the plate. The next food group is vegetables or veggies. And some common vegetables might be carrots, cauliflower, broccoli, and you can see this is a pretty large corner of the plate. And an important part to take note here is that half of the plate is made up of fruits and vegetables. Our third food group is going to be grain, and specifically we like to focus on whole grains. Now the fourth is protein, and of course that's our focus for today. The fifth you'll see over to the corner, it appears as a glass of milk, but this is our dairy. And this would include items such as, milk, yogurt, cottage cheese, and cheese. So as we mentioned, the part that we really want to focus on today is this bottom corner where we see protein. Now in general, when we mention protein, a lot of people first think of meats. They think of lunch meat and chicken and steak, and they think of this as animal products and as the meat that comes from animals. But in reality, we don't need the meat to meet our protein goals. So you can see here that eggs and chicken and turkey, those are all great sources of protein, but so are, as we see over here, the plant-based sources like peanut butter and nuts and beans. So that's really what we want to focus on today. At this point, I'm going to hand over the conversation to Sydney, who's going to share with us not just what a plant-based protein is and how we might incorporate them into the meals, but what meals can we actually serve that have these plant-based proteins.
So when we are trying to first incorporate plant-based proteins into our diet, it can be really overwhelming. You might be thinking to yourself, how am I supposed to make a bean or a nut or a seed or, lentils? How am I supposed to make this the main course or a side dish? So hopefully we can help you out with that. This first recipe here is, I think, a fan favorite. So tacos are something that's really comforting and warm. And, you know, in place of traditional beef or chicken, we have black beans. Now you can use dried or canned black beans, but for canned black beans, you will rinse them, drain them, and then you can season them the way that you would like. You can add tomatoes or corn, both fresh or canned, and then place them on a tortilla. Again, like Maggie said, we want to focus on whole grain, so maybe make that a whole grain tortilla. And then scoop your ingredients into the tortilla and top with some of your favorite toppings like guacamole, or you can do sour cream, you can add cheese, maybe a little cilantro or hot sauce if you like a little kick. Our next recipe is something that might be desirable if you're looking to have that kind of spaghetti and meatball fix. So you're going to prepare your noodles as you typically would using the package instructions, and then you're going to heat your pasta sauce up. Now that can be either homemade or store-bought, and you'll heat that up on the stove over low. Maybe add a couple of seasonings if you feel like it needs a little something extra. And then what you're going to do is you can add your beans. Again, if you're using canned beans, you'll want to drain and rinse them and add that to the sauce and heat up until they're kind of at your desired temperature. And then you can pour that over the noodles, maybe add some cheese and serve with a side salad. And that'd be a really delicious balanced meal. This one is a really great snack or if you're someone who doesn't like a big breakfast or you're always on the go. You'll want to serve on a whole grain tortilla and maybe put 2 tablespoons of peanut butter or some other nut or seed butter that you prefer. And you'll slice up your banana. You can even add maybe some blueberries or another seasonal fruit that's your favorite to increase vitamins. And then maybe add some honey or cinnamon or other things to flavor it. Roll it up and it's ready to go. Oatmeal is another fan favorite for breakfast. A lot of people grew up eating this, but some people might think it's kind of boring. A really fun way to actually increase the protein and make this a more fun meal is to add some nuts. So you could do your oatmeal, maybe add some maple syrup or honey, and then you can use your favorite nuts. So you could use pecans like the ones that are pictured, walnuts, almonds, sunflower seeds. And then you could even add like a nut butter or some like frozen fruit to really give it a great flavor. Next, this is kind of a side dish, whereas it kind of looks familiar to our filling of our tacos, but this is a way to incorporate that as a side dish. And you can do your black beans, corn, and tomatoes, similar to that first recipe. Combine that really well, maybe add some fresh lime juice, salt, cilantro, give it some nice flavor, let it sit, and then you can either maybe add it to a tortilla for a taco like before, or you can maybe dip it in some, dip it with tortilla chips, you know, serve it on the side, and it makes a really delicious protein-packed side dish. This is a fun one to maybe incorporate with the kiddos, or if you're really having a hard time with the flavor of beans or you don't really feel like you're going to like them. This is a nice, easy dish. Start incorporating more plant-based proteins in your life. So, you know, pick your favorite bean. That could be pinto, kidney, black beans, chickpeas. Anyone will do. Make sure that you're rinsing them really well, and then maybe heat covered in a microwave. Add some seasonings if you like. So you could maybe do, if you want something a little spicier, do some like cayenne pepper and paprika. If you want like a more Italian feel, you could do like basil and thyme, and then sprinkle, you know, your favorite cheese on top. And then you can either put this on top of a salad or a pasta, or maybe serve it on the side, and it makes a really delicious, comforting meal. So now that we have learned all about plant-based proteins, and you know, we learned which plant sources are protein sources from Shema. We had a really nice review of My Plate from Maggie. And we just walked through some recipes with me. We really want to challenge you all to find maybe 3 chances in the next week or so to incorporate more plant-based proteins into your diet. So, you know, maybe make notes of them. You can either write them down on a pad of paper or make a mental note every time that you incorporate plant-based proteins as a side dish or as your main entree. And just remember that beans are considered a protein, so that means that you can skip the meat and just eat the beans. Thank you so much for listening to our presentation. We hope you really learned something.